And your parents are like, we thought we got rid of this guy. Now he's back screaming again.
So they dealt with me screaming for 20-something years. And then just when they think I'm gone, I'm back and shouting at the top of my lungs again. Except this time I'm not shouting at them. So, you know, it's
a nice change of pace, I guess. We're back. It's Innersleeve, episode number 41, right here on SoundMojo. I'm Cassius Morris. The usual suspects joining me, Frank Pavan and Joe Pacheco. I'm loving the Is that the SoundMojo hoodie, Frank, or no?
That's correct. I'm wearing the SoundMojo, the channel hoodie. Very comfortable as always.
Dashing, Joe, I may say so.
Thank you.
I have a plain old black. My wash cycle is a little bit off.
How dare you? How dare you not rep the channel merch when we record? Yeah, so that's basically it. That's Cassius, do you have your own hoodie as well?
I do. I've rocked it about twice. I feel like I need to represent it more though, because you guys are definitely showing me up over here. Okay. With the team colors. I'm like the worst player on the team at this point. But these are for sale still, correct? People can still get these?
Oh yeah. So there's all the links can be found in the description below. For those of you who love the channel, you could click them, check out what kind of outfit or hoodie or crew neck would fit you best, and just give it a look. That would be much appreciated.
There's even caps, phone cases, there's pillowcases, some interesting stuff coming on the way.
A bunch of stuff there for you to look at. A few things to make mention of right off the top here is that this week's guest is a band called Fayne. They'll be the featured interview on this week's episode. Joe, I think you have a bit more information on them.
Yeah, Montreal band, one of the first signees, I think the third video we put on SoundMojo. Not to put too much, we have their new video, Empath, which you'll see in the video, and like a master class on how to scream safely.
Oh, that's a great lesson. I think that's going to be fun for people to listen to, because it's actually an art if you think about like how to keep your vocals in check. Another thing right before we get into the nuts and bolts of this episode is for all viewers on YouTube, all listeners on audio platforms, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, leave a rating. That'd be awesome. Actually, the important people say that's important, so please do it. If you can, take a second out of your day. That would greatly be appreciated and go a long way. A few other things around the channel. We've started to upload a few more clips, some funny clips that we've had with a couple guests in past weeks. I think Dee Snider was featured on the channel this week. Mm-hmm. People get confused that Miles Kennedy as well. Thank you, two long-haired men. But speaking of long hair, Dee Snider doesn't like it when people think it's a wig, so I won't spoil it more than that. But if you want to check out that video, it's a funny one. So check out all the other stuff that's being uploaded to the channel. That would be greatly appreciated. I think we can get into this episode. Cassius, what do you have for us?
Well, there's definitely some turbulence going on in the world of music. I wish I had some better news for you guys, but we got to stay on top of what's actually happening. So let's kick it off with this. Judas Priest's Richie Faulkner has unfortunately been hospitalized due to a, quote, major medical heart condition. The remainder of the U.S. Judas Priest tour has been postponed. Now, guys, maybe I'm superstitious and maybe this is a little out there, but I do want to pose you this question. Has anybody else noticed that there seems to be just about anything you can imagine going wrong with all of these rock tours going on? I mean, the Rolling Stones lose Charlie Watts. This happens. We're about to get into the MGK incident. I mean, is there just a bad omen around touring, or am I crazy?
It's hard to say, man. I mean, I'm not superstitious, but I don't know.
Maybe it's a bad omen because of these people's ages. I don't know. Maybe they're too old.
That's a good point. But I also think it's obviously, even Montreal, we the Lamb of God Megadeth concerts got canceled here in Quebec. So it's like, I think it's a cocktail of many things, right? Maybe people were, in lockdown too long and then all of a sudden too quickly out there. And so some shows are getting canceled and then some, I don't know, man. Maybe there is something funky in the air, omen style.
We got to leave that up to the viewers, I guess. But the band's longtime PR assistant says as soon as we have any updates from his doctors on when we can reschedule these dates, we will announce them and the tickets will still be valid. So all the Judas Priest fans out there, hang on to your tickets if you have them. and sending a big get well message to Richie Faulkner, of course. We never want anybody in that sort of situation. Now, for something with a little more levity, the Louder Than Life Music Festival took place over the last couple of days in the United States. Mostly a big rock festival, but there were two artists who were exceptions to that. We know the one was Machine Gun Kelly. Frank and Joe, can you guys guess who the other exception?
Oh, is this an early trivia question?
No. This is a hybrid trivia question.
So this is known for being a rock festival, but there were two rap-based artists or rappers.
Well, there were two exceptions from rock and metal. That's what I'll tell you. And the
is
one
it like
was
a mainstream person?
I would say so, yeah, but I don't want to give too many hints.
I have no clue.
Was it like?
I give up right away.
It's a rapper. Can you at least give us the genre here?
Yes, it's a rapper. It's a rapper.
Like, don't tell me like Lil Yachty or something.
No, Snoop Dogg
Okay.
was the only other exception. So, Machine Gun Kelly takes the stage. The way it was set up was there's two stages side by side where there's artists going back and forth. MGK takes the stage, basically gets booed for his entire set, ignores the booing, then at the end of his set jumps off stage and starts fighting with audience members for a brief moment.
That was like a descent. This is like just
what do we make of this?
Well, we spoke about MGK being in, like, having that type of baggage last week on last week's show. And, I posed the question, is it him or is he just putting it on, right, for like his personality or his persona? And I guess it's him.
I guess it's him, right?
I guess it's him. I guess he's very confrontationalist.
We've been given so many different scenarios with him. The thing I wonder, though, do you guys think that it matters that he was booed off stage? Because I'm going to throw a wild card in. If you think about it, he's still getting paid, and he's still living his dream.
I think it still hits the ego, though. Especially when you're at that level, when you've made it, and then you get booed. I think that's a test to your ego. That's a shot. So, yeah, whatever. They get paid. But oftentimes these artists don't get in for it for the money anyways. So I think it's an ego shot more than anything.
What do you think, Joe?
I think it's just the more you could be in the news, the better for him. Like, I think that's what it is.
Bad publicity is good publicity.
I think it's just like he's using it. Now it's him. Like, think about it. He's in the spotlight like all the time now. Anyway, it seems to be in our spotlight all the time. I don't want to add more fuel to the fire to give this guy any more.
You don't. I can tell.
I know. Like, seriously, I can't stand. Like, I'm not like. I drama. I'm just not drawn to drama. I just like you try to listen to my music and enjoy my stuff. But this is what's the wild card? I'm anxious to know.
No, that was the wild card. Just really doesn't matter because, I mean, he kind of reminded me of the teacher that's like, it doesn't matter if I don't teach, I'm still getting paid. The whole crowd could light the place on fire. He'd still go away with his check. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of these guys do care about.
You see this in sports too, right? Like certain athletes like to be that public enemy number one. Like even though they're chill behind closed doors or whatever, they just like to be that villain when the light's shining on them. So maybe that's the case for MGK, but
attention.
I mean, look, it must be tiring after. I know he's still young, but it must be tiring after a certain amount of time. But hey, it is what it is, man. It's par for the course.
Is it better to burn out than fade away? Maybe that's what it
fade
is.
Away.
Like, who knows? This must be in response
we'll find out.
Not to add any more again, sorry, but like this must be in response to the whole Slipknot thing, the booing, right? Why were people booing him? I just think, it's like.
Well, what was this event called? What was this event called? Sorry, Joe.
Louder Than Life.
And this is a rock concert.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's
so. Yeah, they gave it to him, man. That's like he set himself up, man. He walked into that freaking thing. It's like those arch rivals in sports when the away team comes into town and the fan, like, you're just getting grilled. So he walked right into that one. They're rock fans, they're rock oriented fans, and you make a comment like that, and the next week or two, you're in their house, you're gonna hear it.
Because look at Snoop Dogg, no issues.
That's the thing, right? I was thinking that because if he wouldn't have had all this beef with I mean, even Conor McGregor, like these are big people that I think, the hardened rock fans probably dig. I think he might have been okay. And that's the thing. I mean, it would be nice to see something like this happen without a hitch, because the one thing I hate is the stereotype that rock and metal fans should only listen to rock and metal. I'm a guy who happens to like both, and this would probably be a great event for me, but I guess not for everybody. Last story I want to bring up, which is unfortunate in a way, funny on the other hand. Let's see what you guys think. John Lydon, a.k.a. Johnny Rotten of the Sex Pistols, was asked about the glory of being in such an acclaimed band, and his response was, quote, "Well, I don't know that there was much glory. It was mostly hell on earth," is his quote about being in one of the most successful bands ever. Joe, does this sound familiar to you? Like, this may be a surprise to people who don't really know bands and aren't in the mix, but is this common?
I don't know. I guess so, right? If they say if a marriage is hard, imagine with 4 other guys or 4 other people in a band, egos, ideas, who's getting the spotlight, right? Like it's not an easy thing to juggle in a band, like.
Yeah, because your late night jam sessions turn into a full blown business. So people have opinions, people have ideas on where they want things to go. So is that what he alluded to though? Is the hell on earth comment in reference to being a part of like the behind the scenes of the band, or was it like the touring? Was it what was it?
Well, it's good that you ask. I think this was mostly in reference to the fact that their songs were so politically charged. And talking about government, the king, queen, all this stuff. He says there was constant pressure, but I got to write the songs I wanted to write, got those lyrics out. People appreciated it. He says, but I had a media and police force who did not appreciate it. I was discussed in the House of Parliament under the Treason Act. And the Treason Act apparently carried a death penalty.
Some serious stuff, man.
So he says a few sloppy little pop songs like Anarchy in the UK and You Can Be Dead. So maybe that puts more context into the pressure in the hell on earth, because if you think about it, he became like a political and governmental martyr for an entire generation to sort of express what they couldn't say. So that must be a lot on somebody's shoulders.
Yep, that's true.
Unbelievable. And listen, I just want to...
You also have the pressure of the fans that if you do, you got to say, be honest and stay true to the music.
Yeah, you can't be a cop-out anymore.
Exactly, that's it. So you're like, you're stuck.
You live by those lyrics, you got to die by those lyrics. So it's, you got to face whatever type of hurdles are thrown at you. Yeah, that's tough, man. Jeez.
See? Drama.
Drama. Like I said, I wish I had better news for you guys, but we'll try again next week.
So I'll admit, there's no bones in here. I'm just a sad sack of skin, and this seat that I'm in won't lift me anywhere. So I'm not worth your time. These problems are all mine.
You guys know what time it is now. It is that part of the show where we go in for a little bit of trivia. And I think, Joe, you have some trivia for me and Frank?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
It's my time to shine or fail, depending on the questions, once again.
I tried a nice mix like Frank did. We'll see.
Okay. See, I'm the standard. I'm the golden standard for this trivia competition.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah. So that's it. So basically, the first one is a jazz question. Ooh.
My forte. Perfect.
Yeah, love that genre.
Which jazz musician was known for playing a bent trumpet? Louis Armstrong, Chet Baker, Dizzy Gillespie, or Miles Davis? He's famous, right, for that bent.
At least we get options this time. I feel like last time
we've got a 25% chance here.
It's a wild card.
I kept them all, I think, pretty much multiple choice.
I'm going to go with Miles Davis.
Okay. Which jazz musician was known for playing a bent trumpet? Louis Armstrong, Chet Baker, Dizzy Gillespie, or Miles Davis?
I'm going to say Louis Armstrong.
Both of you wrong. Dizzy Gillespie.
Ah, man, that sounded right because of the dizzy, the twist. I don't know.
I
was going to go
actually,
for that.
It's funny because, apparently, this was the backstory, right? On January 6, 1953, Gillespie threw a party for his wife at a club in Manhattan, and where the trumpet's bell got bent upward in an accident. He liked the sound so much that he kept it and became his signature,
I like
I
that.
love how that's always the story with these accidents. Like Tony Iommi accidentally cuts off his hand, then it makes this iconic sound. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
All right, so here's I think a softball. Which rapper is famous for wearing parachute pants? Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, MC Hammer, Lauryn Hill.
I know this one. Definitely Lauryn Hill. No, MC Hammer.
Frankie?
I'll just take that answer as my own.
Ba-bang. MC Hammer, man. Can't touch this.
I finally got one right. Oh my
What's
gosh.
parachute pants? Like they're super. Like what is that?
Super baggy, yeah, exactly. If you watch the video, you'll see the way he dances with the like super baggy, so parachute pants.
Okay.
I think he started that style for rappers wearing like the triple XL shirts too, like all those big baggy clothes. That was probably started from him.
Yeah. All right, number 3. What did Freddie Mercury attribute his enhanced vocal range to? Genetics, larger lungs, lots of practice, or extra teeth?
I feel like this might be a trick because people want to say teeth, but that's too obvious almost.
He attributed his vocal range
his
to one of
enhanced
these.
vocal range. Yeah, genetics, larger lungs, lots of practice, or extra teeth.
I mean, the real answer would probably be genetics.
Probably.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
thinking. I think teeth are part
But
of
what's
his genetics in a way. I'm gonna have to go with teeth.
No, I'm gonna go genetics.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
this is what he attributed to, and he attributed his extra teeth.
No,
I
there
would
you
have never
go.
thought of that.
I
Mercury was
didn't
born
want to
with-
touch that answer with a 10-foot pole, but it was right. Okay.
I think you actually are right though, Frank.
Yeah, Mercury was born with 4 extra teeth, which attributed and his enhanced vocal range. He refused to have his teeth fixed, fearing it would affect his vocal ability.
Wow. Okay.
I would have figured genetics or like lungs, right? Like you can.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I respect it.
I think he's a little mixed up with his anatomy, but nonetheless.
All right.
All right,
Hit us
so-
with your next shot.
Yeah. What member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers grew up with Cher as a babysitter? So Chad Smith, Anthony Kiedis, Josh Klinghoffer, or Flea? Imagine having Cher as a babysitter. Sonny and
I've
Cher.
imagined it many times. No. You know what? I know they're California boys, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Anthony Kiedis.
Who's a singer, right? Just in case, Frank, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the names.
Yep. Thank you for filling in. Klinghoffer. Because I like the name.
Yeah, I know. No, it's actually, Cash has got it. Anthony Kiedis.
Okay, good. I thought it was going to be Flea. I was sure, but I went for Anthony because I knew he was exposed to all this crazy Hollywood stuff young, 12, 13.
Yeah. All right, last one. Here we go. How many different instruments did Prince play on his debut album? 12, 9, 3, or 27? How many instruments
I'm
did
going
he
to go
play?
with 12.
Because he pretty much played everything on his first album.
27.
27, man. 27 club,
Wow.
I guess. Yeah,
I can't
imagine.
even name 27 instruments.
Yeah, so that's what I
He knows
mean,
how to
right?
play them.
I got
I
tipped
actually
off,
answered
though.
12. I'm like, I don't even think I can name 12. My
I'm sure
God.
you can.
Jeez. Yeah,
So,
okay.
not too bad this
Yeah,
week.
man. Hey,
Pretty
I
decent
may have a
mix,
job
right?
next week. I may have redeemed myself.
Carried us. All right, I
My
appreciate
back
it.
hurts from carrying this match.
Jeez.
I said he's just Jameson, and the angry soul. It's out of control. It's out of control.
Did we get into On This Day? Are you guys interested in some fun facts?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll hit you.
Okay.
Get this. October 1st, 1956. After test audiences gave a negative reaction to Elvis Presley dying at the end of the film Love Me Tender, the King was called back to reshoot the scene. In the new ending, the hero lived.
Wow.
Imagine that in today, okay? Who's a massive character who died or whatever? Anyways, I'm obviously drawing a blank. Oh yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay. Goes through that whole movie in the Titanic.
Right.
Okay. They go through the
That's funny.
script. He dies at the end. He doesn't hold on to the door which had room for a second person, by the way. Just saying.
Yes, thank you.
They go through a screening, a test watching with like, I don't know, over 1,000 people. They ask, and they have to like schedule new filming sets.
Everything, yeah.
Again,
the logistics behind that
nightmare.
must have been crazy, you know?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
That must not have been convenient for Elvis. He must have been a bit ticked off, actually.
You know what's cool is that the audience's people asked for this, you know, whereas we would know that like Kanye would have asked for this himself.
Well, yeah, he's still changing songs from his album 5 years ago. So, you know, but that's actually funny you bring that up, Frank, because just a little anecdote. Apparently, Steven Spielberg does the same thing with his movies. He'll make his movies exactly to his liking, go to a random test screening with people in Middle America who are just customers, viewers, and whatever they tell him to change, he will apparently change it, even if it involves reshooting. So interesting that this has actually happened before, and maybe Spielberg took a tip from this.
That must be written in the contract, because I can't imagine people wanting to, you know, okay, we're wrapped, and then, but we got to go back. Like, that must be a little caveat in the a disclaimer in the contract. Anyways.
Gotta be a loophole.
Gotta be. October 1st, 2007, so fast forwarding almost 50 years here, more than 50 years, the Spice Girls London reunion concert sold out in, drumroll, 38 seconds after fans were notified of tickets that had gone on sale. More than 1 million people in the UK registered for the concert on the 15th of December 2007, so a month and a half later, at the O2 Arena. Tickets costed 55 to 75 euros, which, you know, it's fair price. 3 more London dates were added to the world tour, which was kicking off in Vancouver on the 2nd of December. But anyways, the things I mentioned at the end don't really matter. 38 seconds of a sold out reunion tour.
The UK very loyal to who they love, whether it's, you know, the Queen, the royal family, whether it's television stars, music people, very tight-knit.
Sports athletes, yeah.
Exactly, right? Very tight-knit to their culture.
Oh my God, such a rich culture and such a, like you said, a diehard culture. Cult following anyway. Seriously. So yeah, no, 38 seconds, that's what stood out to me. Good for them though. I mean, hey.
Incredible.
October 1st, 2019, accounts revealed, that Ed Sheeran Limited, which I didn't even know he's like a franchise, made a...
With that kind of money?
I didn't know that though. Like you can't just... Anyways. Taxes, made a because I guess you've got staff and you're like a business now, right? You pay people on salary and stuff, maybe. Made a gross profit of 23,770,262 euros. Oh no, it's pounds. Excuse me. Equating to 65,124 pounds a day during 2018. Wow. The account also showed that he paid 4,500,000 some odd thousand euros in taxes. So anyways, getting to the end, the last part of this fun fact is that with separate figures for total earnings before taxes, it found that the singer generated 89.8 million euros that year, putting him below Coldplay at 94 million and U2 at 96 million, according to Forbes. Like, these are mega stars, you know, in music history.
With
Coldplay,
multiple
U2.
Members.
Yep.
With multiple members, you're right. Like, for him to be in that echelon says a lot. Says a lot.
That's incredible when you put it into perspective like that. You're right. I mean,
not only that, insane. the guy is a fantastic songwriter. Not even just for himself, but the songs he writes for other artists. It's insane.
You know what's funny? I was having this conversation the other day coming back from my country place, and we were listening to an Ed Sheeran song. It was just South of the Border. You know that with the feature with Camila Cabello and Cardi B. And Posty, I think Post Malone was on it. And my brother's a big music fan, so he was like giving me his opinion on Ed Sheeran and how Ed isn't, he doesn't have the most blow you out of the arena voice. Like, he doesn't have that voice that can go to the highest or lowest of ranges. He just has that voice that almost complements the other artists that he's performing with. Like, it's a perfect voice that would complement even like a female's voice. But like, he was going off, like my brother was saying, that he doesn't have a voice like a blow you out of the water type of voice. He's just consistent with his lyricism. He's very good with his lyrics and his writing and all that. So
That's a great point. I mean,
I
he's
was,
been put on songs
I was
with-
interested to hear that because, you know, when people reach this level, especially with like Coldplay or U2, with this example that I said, like you think of people who just blow you out of the water. And while Ed Sheeran does, like his work and his voice is terrific, but you're right. When you think about it, he's not known for like those crazy vocals or whatnot. It's just like he's super consistent at what he does. He does it well.
Yeah, not the
Extremely
vocals that
well.
would break glass or anything, but
Right.
definitely
That's
the
it.
vocal. I mean, he's done songs with 50 Cent, Eminem, like you said, Cardi B. So he's obviously very malleable, and you can put him on pretty much next to anything. And, well-deserved success. How many pub-style singers? I mean, it's hard to make
Yeah.
it in music, but guys, like how many pub singers actually make it? Like this guy deserves it, and he's done very well.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to make mention of where I got all this information from. It is from thisdayinmusic.com. Just want to give the credits to them.
We
But
need a
that's all I got.
sponsorship at this point.
I would love that. I would love that.
yeah.
Some way, somehow. Maybe we could reach out. Let's see. But that was it. I've kind of wrapped up the On This Day with some Ed Sheeran talk. And I think we could head on into the Fayne interview. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We got Fayne on the show today. Joe, by the way, we need to make like a video compilation of you saying this is one of the first bands on SoundMojo.
I know.
Be 29 clips, but actually one of the first bands on SoundMojo.
Yeah, one of the first ones to sign up. And like I said earlier in the show, the third video, I believe, we published on the channel and got a great reaction. As you'll see, we mentioned some comments and stuff. And like their quality, like their dedication to not only just like in the music in terms of storytelling, but in the visual sense too. And they let us know about a great collaboration they've had with some local crew guys and directors. So off
A
we
lot
go.
of good stuff. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Here's Fayne on Innersleeve. Justin and Carlo from Fayne, thanks for joining us right here on Innersleeve.
Thanks, man. Hey, thanks for having us. This is awesome.
100%. We just got into a little bit of you guys' music video, Empath, which is an awesome video, by the way. I don't know if you can give maybe the people some context about what they just saw, or maybe some details about sort of the concept of this, because I think it's intriguing.
There's a lot to unpack with this video. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The video is we're no strangers as a band to using metaphors to represent our music all the time. This is something like where personally, like I love to do this. It's kind of just my way of navigating the world creatively and trying to convey things that I'm trying to say through my music. And the guys gel with that approach too. So it's makes sense that we're all in a band together. But Empath has a lot of subtle references to what it means to have a conversation with other humans through art as a form of interaction rather than language or speaking words. And there's a bit of a supernatural element to the video as well. We didn't want it to just be this interpretive representation of I'm speaking to you with my music or I'm speaking to you with my paint. And we were like, okay, how can we make this, freaky? And that's why there's a lot of elements, with the two artists in the video, touching that easel together at the same time. And then this like connection happens where they're kind of able to control each other during the process of the video. They're able to feel each other's feelings by connecting through this easel that kind of creates a bond between them that transcends time, transcends space, whatever means you want to pick. Empath basically talks about understanding people in a way that's deeper than just words and just simple conversation. Or rather, it takes conversation to a new level where you don't need words to communicate what it is you're trying to feel, because the means that you're using can actually reach a deeper form of understanding and a deeper connection than what words can do. And the video is based off a dream I had where it was like a man in the mirror. It was a very vague dream. So I guess it was me. I was in a mirror and I saw my reflection, but the reflection wasn't mimicking me. I was mimicking the reflection. So it was like what I was seeing in the mirror was controlling me. And I took that concept and kind of ran with it with Max, the director from Les Orphelins, which is the film crew that produced the video. And then we went back and forth on trying to find ways to convey this dream in a more artistic and creative way, where we can use other characters, or we can re-represent this mirror with something that's more relatable on an artistic front. So a painting is perfect. Originally we were thinking about like a self-portrait or like a canvas of some sort, and it ended up becoming this abomination of a creation that this painter came up with.
Not to cut you off, but Carlo, do you have anything else to add to this?
Because all I can say is that going back to the mention of Jerry Park, the concept and all the discussions actually happened at Jerry Park with Les Orphelins, and they basically took Justin's idea. We bounced it back and forth for many weeks, and they just basically put those words to images, and they did a really good job with it. I can't say much more than that.
It looks like a super involved like process and video, and like how long did it take? Like what was the process from conception to like what we're watching?
That was my question too.
Well, basically this is it was a few months of planning throughout the summer, so of 2020, I would say. And we were trying to book a full weekend at a location that was unknown at the time. And finally, they hooked us up with the right location, the right actors, and the actor that is actually a musician who was willing to play the cello. And he actually wrote the part for that song, which is only available in the video too. So that was cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the what ended up happening was we booked, I think it was like a weekend in January, and 3 days, start to finish, Friday all the way to Sunday. Due to COVID restrictions, we were not allowed to be there except for one person. So Justin luckily drove through a snowstorm all the way to Sherbrooke. And
snowstorm and risking a curfew and getting caught by the cops.
Oh, man.
We
risking it all.
Yeah.
The thing we do for the love of the art, huh?
Right?
I think from start to finish, that process took almost a year.
Yeah.
To get from where we wanted to get from where when we first started talking about the video and planning the video, and
so the song existed. It already existed instrumentally.
Yeah, we did the drum tracks in February of 2020, before lockdown. Just before the
I
COVID
remember those sessions. Yes, I remember that.
That's amazing. How do you guys keep it from that point where you're first starting up until what we see now? How do you keep it fresh? Like, how do you keep yourselves involved in the process through that whole period? I'm curious.
I don't know, Justin. I mean, I from my point of view, I think it's more like we kind of put it on the side, and we sat on it for a bit while Justin was doing vocals for it, and obviously the lockdown didn't help. Mm-hmm. So in that meantime, Alex was our guitar player, was just writing new music. So we said, you know what, to keep it fresh, let's not touch it. We just left it there. And once it was mixed and mastered, again, left it aside and started planning out the video concepts and what we're gonna do and how we're gonna release it and all that stuff. That's it.
Yeah. It wasn't easy, like to keep things fresh and to kind of keep ourselves inspired, because like every means that we kind of had to pull inspiration from at the time was taken away. We even got locked out of our pad.
Yeah,
we got locked.
Really?
Straight locked out of our pad. No one in, no one out. Well, no one out. No. Yeah, for a few months. There's only one day where Carlo was actually allowed to go and get the gear inside so that we can keep moving forward with recording music. And Empath and Hubris, they weren't even done at the time yet when the lockdown had started. So Carlo, when he had the chance to go into the pad and take whatever he could for us to, keep creating, he drove all the way,
laptops,
drove all the way to where I was staying so I can record vocals, on my own in a basement. And that was freaking, man.
We trusted him with that. Like there was no he just went for it. He sent the tracks to our guitar player and we were like, okay, man, this is cool, let's go.
And it was like
fun.
the best tracks we've ever done.
We probably had so much emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, Alex. You did such a great job, Alex, because I mean you can't really tell. It sounds legit, sounds great, you know. So it's, and like your performance goes from super soft. And by the way, I gotta mention, Frank made me laugh earlier before we were on this call, because I sent them a playlist of the SoundMojo playlist with all the songs, you know, and I guess I didn't warn him, you know, that it was like, I did. I said metalcore and progressive metal kind of sound. He had it on full blast, didn't listen.
He's covering his bases here.
Boom! He pressed play and he goes, "Holy cow, dude, guys! My ears just took a beating."
yeah.
Yo, well, imagine our ears, man.
That's true.
Being in the room.
I actually want to ask you about that, Justin, because you said you recorded on your own in a basement. Was this like a professional basement, or were you like with a towel over your head in a closet? Like, what is with a microphone?
So I went to go stay at my parents' house when the lockdown first hit, because we didn't know what was going to happen. At the time, I was living in NDG. And NDG was one of the spiked, like, dark red zones, like, immediately when this started. So I was like, I don't want to be here in this neighborhood. It just felt kind of dystopian to even go outside in the city at the time. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go back to the suburbs. I'm gonna hide out in the trees. There's no better place to do nothing. But my parents' basement, actually, it's unintentionally treated. It wasn't treated for the purpose of, you know, recording, but there's like acoustic tiles that line the whole basement. The basement's like a long rectangle that has like some walls that come out more than others. So it's asymmetrical. Yep. So, you know, it's like, it was like the perfect storm, and recording down there actually sounded freaking sick, man. Like, I think I might go back there again to do the next stuff, because it was
Who needs a studio? Seriously.
And your parents are like, we thought we got rid of this guy. Now he's back screaming again.
They dealt with me screaming for 20 something years. And then just when they think I'm gone, I'm back and shouting at the top of my lungs again. Except this time I'm not shouting at them. So, you know, it's
a nice change of pace, I guess. Yeah. I'm curious about your vocal technique, actually. I'm wondering, is there a proper way to do vocals like that without damaging your voice? And how did you exactly learn to do that?
Absolutely. There's absolutely a proper way to do that. And a lot of people focus a lot in the beginning on trying to sound a certain way, and not making a sound without hurting yourself, but rather just sounding a certain way, because they're trying to mimic, you know, either their favorite vocalists, their favorite singers. And this is the wrong way to go about it, because everybody sounds different. Everybody has their own voice. And what you have to be able to do is to find your own voice without destroying your vocal cords and, you know, popping a vein, or, you know, giving yourself a backiotomy because, you know, you're forcing and coughing up blood and stuff like that. So everybody has their own voice at first, and once you can learn how to push that sound out without hurting yourself, then you can kind of start to tailor the sound as your voice has been worked out, and as you get used to using your vocal cords and your vocal folds. It's actually more your vocal folds, not your vocal cords. Your vocal folds are what helps push the air, and your vocal cords are kind of like the tone benders, like in your throat. But all that power comes from your diaphragm. It comes from the muscles here underneath your rib cage, which is actually, I learned this back in high school because I was a theater kid. So I was acting on stage in plays and stuff like that.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
And I was a professional theater student in college for a semester.
I was just going to ask if you took an anatomy class or something. I was just going to ask that, because you're quite well versed. But have you ever before you knew all this, damaged your vocal cords or hurt yourself?
Yeah, I have.
Many times? One time it happened and you said never again, or?
You know, as an adult, it's happened unintentionally, you know, by going to shows and having a couple of drinks and just screaming along to your favorite band's music irresponsibly. And the next day you wake up and you're like, why don't I have a voice? You know?
Yeah.
But as a kid, when I first started singing, I started singing at about 7 or 8 years old. I was singing in talent shows, and I was covering songs, dancing on the mantle and on the fireplace in my parents' house, pretending it was a stage and stuff like that.
Was it in Portuguese?
Yeah.
Was the music in Portuguese?
No, were you singing in Portuguese?
Fuck no, man.
Never know.
I'm going to start singing Fado at the top of my lungs at 9 years old. I got enough of that with my grandma and my parents singing that at the top of their lungs. So I was like, I got to do my own thing. But yeah, there's definitely a way to not hurt yourself. You gotta get that power from your voice, from the muscles that are in your diaphragm, and it's a projection technique that actors use on stage when they're performing in plays. Because unless you're doing a musical where everyone's hooked up with lavalier mics, or you're in a small auditorium, you actually have to get that audience to hear your voice without your voice being hooked up to a microphone, and you have to still be able to act out your part. And you know, do your scenes without looking like you're screaming at somebody, because not every conversation, you know, not every conversation in a play or scene in a play is a guy screaming at the top of their lungs. Sometimes it's calmer. So
Yeah.
you know, I can talk to you guys nice and quietly like this, or I could talk to you guys nice and quietly like this, but I am not forcing my voice anymore. Either way, what I'm doing is I'm kind of pushing that air up from my diaphragm, and I'm not straining my throat. It's a very similar feeling to when you take a dump, which is actually the forcing technique that they call in vocal training. It's called dump, which is where you gather that power from the muscles in your diaphragm in order to force that air out. And there's really funny names in the singing world.
I really hope you're clenching your butt cheeks when that's happening, because
sometimes when you're getting used to it, you kind of have to, and you subconsciously do it too, because you're like, oh, I'm about to take a shit, but now you're like, it's like
not this time, pal.
Not this time.
How long did it take to like develop that confidence and like, okay, here's my sound, I'm comfortable, it doesn't hurt anymore? Like, how many years of singing did it take to get to that level?
So singing, I've been doing since about 7 or 8 years old. So I started being able to sing like on pitch and kind of know exactly what I was doing in high school. By the 11th grade, I was singing on pitch and stuff like that. And you only get better over time. But screaming, I started doing in the 8th grade. And man, I was goddamn terrible when I started. Like, I was bad. I was bad to the point where I kept defaulting back to being like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to play guitar in bands. So, yeah, this isn't right for me. So I played guitar in bands until I was about 19 years old. And then I joined another metal band before Fayne on vocals. And that's when my journey with screaming really began, because I kind of started to kind of gear into it. And you know, I was taking myself seriously with it, because I was like, okay, I'm going to scream for a band, because, you know, I got in, they liked me. So I said, you know what, I'm going to scream for this band. So at that point, I started taking it a lot more seriously, and I had more grasped the understanding of how to do it after watching instructional videos, DVDs, things my favorite vocalists would say on YouTube about how to do it. And through that, I got better and better and better. And then once I joined Fayne, and I was going to be screaming a lot more, because actually in that old band, I switched back to guitar, because we couldn't find a guitarist. So I was the only one who was able to play the song. So I was doing guitar and backup vocals. So I stopped doing as much vocals as, you know, you'd be as a frontman. But then I joined Fayne in 2017, and I was like, I'm going to be screaming full time again. And my biggest growth period has definitely been with them. You know, like I sound very different now than I did then, but I'm also a lot more confident in what I do now than what I did when I first started as well. And I'm still learning. Like, my voice keeps changing. And it has a lot to do with how you take care of your voice too. You know, like I used to be a heavy smoker. Some people can smoke 2 packs a day and they sound like brilliant, you know, monsters that they have the lung capacity of a whale. But
that's to your point though. Everybody's voice is vastly different.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know, it's not just about stamina. It's about the sound and the tone too. You know, like if everybody could do vocals the exact same way, I think in a way we'd all have the same talking voice as well. And that would be weird, you know. That'd be really weird. The diversity is nice. So like my only like consolation for people who are just starting to do this is that at the beginning, don't worry about sounding like somebody else. Sound like yourself, but make sure that you're not hurting yourself, because once you have that down, then you can start tailoring your voice to sound like the things that you want to sound like, and it gets better over time. It's a matter of practicing and stuff like that, you know.
So I wanted to say, but going back to Empath and the video, of course, as you guys recently, just like a few weeks ago, won 2 awards for the video.
Yeah,
you know, on the IMVA, right? International Music Video Awards.
Congrats!
Right. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, that was cool.
Thank you,
So,
thank you very much.
Definitely a first for the band.
What is best drama and cinematography?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's the same team. You guys work with this team. You guys, it's like 3 or 4 videos you do with these guys, right? Is it Desro or Les Orphelins, right?
Les Orphelins is the production company, and the
Okay.
director is Desro.
Desro's the director. Yeah.
Director, sorry.
What would you say gives them that edge for you guys, Carlo? Is it just the ease of working with them, or what they produce? What's really the thing with them?
I think, well, we deal with the director and the camera guy. His name is Graham. We get each other. It's a weird like synergy that we have. It's like they should be part of the band almost, or we should be part of their team. Everything we kind of throw back and forth is just we complete each other's sentences. I don't know if that makes any sense. But ever since we did Grimspeak,
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Justin has worked with them in the past with his old band, and he kind of introduced us to them, and it's been love ever since, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
it's been really cool.
That's cool.
That's a really important aspect to have, though, because you can't be sort of trying to force your vision into somebody's head. It's almost like they either get it or they don't.
Exactly. And not only that, they also they'll throw back some other ideas too, to kind of either add or even kind of pivot the concept as well, for many reasons, whether it's it's like we think it's too complicated, and they would tell us right away, like, there's nothing that's too complicated, let's just do it. And it's like, wow, man, that's really
encouraging.
sick. Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it's cool because you guys have your vision as you bring your music, and you have a visual vision too. But then you rely on their expertise. This is what we do. We know how to get those shots.
Yeah.
It's like already, we all know, like, as a musician, you have to wear like 30 hats, right? You have to do everything. And you guys are like one of those DIY bands. You do everything. You record, you mix, you master, like you do a lot of stuff. So I mean, like, to have that quality and that like taken off your shoulders, and you can rely on those guys. It's like, look. It's awesome.
It's a huge, it's definitely a huge weight off our shoulders. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say any more about that.
The cool thing with them is that the more we work with them, the more we get a grasp of what's doable and what's not doable. And even if it is doable, will it look the way that we want it to look? Will the possibility do our vision justice? We kind of get a better grasp of what these things are going to look like over time with working with them. Man, me personally, the Hubris was my a little spoiler alert. There's going to be something coming out for Hubris, but Hubris was my 6th video with them. And so at this point, it's like, okay, like, I know what they're capable of. And I also know, like, budget wise, after doing this like 6 times with them and 4 times with Fayne, it's like, what kind of we have access to. And that just gets like, you kind of just keep learning the tricks of the trade over time, through them. And that helps kind of craft your ideas to bring to them, like, in a more realistic way. And then they could turn around and embellish it and make it even better, because they're able to bend with any situation and still do it justice and still make it look really, really sick.
And they work really, really, really hard. Like, they put us to shame. But the thing is, like, they support us in that sense that, we'll help out any which way we can to make the process easier. And likewise, they kind of do the same thing in return. They just make us feel really comfortable with where we're at and what we're doing. And like, their whole team is amazing. We just really love working with them.
That's a good endorsement for them. Hopefully they're going to pick up this episode here.
Shout out. They deserve all the appreciation, man. Like, they bust their ass, and like, it shows.
Yeah. The proof is like if we bring back to our relationship with SoundMojo and Fayne, Fayne being the 3rd pretty much video we published on the channel.
That's right.
Wow.
And like right at the beginning, and I remember the beginning, it was like as if it was yesterday. And like, I remember we first launched the promos on top 10 videos, and they started to really go. Yeah. It was so awesome to have like, you're Saturday, I'm doing my yard work, and then I get a text from Carlos saying, dude, I've seen more activity in 5 days than I've seen in 5 years, because the audience had such a great reaction. And was really eye-opening for me was when the comments would come over and be like, holy shit, Watch Mojo, I can't believe Watch Mojo, or somebody knows what they're doing here at Watch Mojo, like all these great.
I remember that comment. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was
like,
cool, man.
Like, wow. It was like such a, like a, it's like somebody came over, because you're always just seeing, Netflix brought me here, or this movie brought me here. So it became like Watch Mojo brought me here, and then the even nicer cherry on top was seeing everybody spill over to your Spotify, over to your, because I saw that even on your channel, the video went up, and I was like, wow, look at these great comments. So it's like, people did 3 steps. So, you know, you almost like, it's not like it was just playing on a Spotify playlist where it's playing in the background while you're working. People made an effort to go like you and follow you. So you got
That's
fans.
right. Yeah.
And that was
We
the
did.
beauty. That's it.
That's good.
You know,
There's
so
like a real trickle down effect. Like
that's it.
Ripple effect.
I think
Yeah,
it also
because-
it opened us up to an audience we never had, and even that people weren't into the music. Let's say, especially for Grimspeak, like if someone kind of just opened up that video with it's a bit too heavy or the vocals were too screaming, they watched the video and still commented on the cinematography and the storyline behind it, and for that we were super grateful as well because people actually took the time.
There's something for
exactly.
everyone in you guys' content.
Yeah,
and it's also like a good message to a lot of bands, and I get it. You need a budget, or you have a grant or something, but where the visual is so important to the audio as well, you know. And it's like, it's not just like, you know, I get it. We have to make lyric videos or we make stuff, but like when you put that extra effort, man, look how much further it goes, right? Like people
exactly.
are like, they experience it in 2 ways, right? Oral and then visually too. So
That's right. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys about your releases. I'm just curious, what do you prefer to do at this point in your careers? Do you prefer to do full projects, EPs, or albums, or do you prefer the single releases? And what's the sort of the difference in traction between those two?
Let's see. I
It's
guess go ahead, Justin.
you, me,
You can start it off.
I'll start it off and you can finish it up. It's kind of like rolling with the punches, really. You know, like when I first joined the band in 2017, we were working on an album, and we dropped an album, and I still believe this day that like an album is like amazing endeavor for a band as a release. It's like releasing a book. It's got a story, it's got chapters from start to finish, and how you start that book is just as important as how you end it, and everything in between is what's going to keep that audience there to kind of get to the finale of the ending of that book or that album. But it's contextual as well. In the case of what just happened to us with COVID, we were like, you know what, singles are going to make more sense for what we're going to do right now. Especially the types of songs that we had too. You know, like we have Empath that's like, you know, pushes 8 minutes in runtime, and Hubris is almost 5. But, you know, together it's like 13 minutes of music, and you're almost at an EP at that point. You know, and it's also the timing that we wrote them at. They kind of hold their own as like a passage in time in this band that was unique only to that moment in time. And so it was like, if we wrote and produced these songs during a certain headspace during the first wave of this pandemic, we might not necessarily be in the next frame of mind or the same headspace for what's coming after that. And you can kind of hear that in the music. Well, we can hear it in the music because we have newer stuff that we've written since, and there's a different energy in there. There's like there's a bit of a darkness to these 2 songs that only really comes through in these 2 songs because of, you know, when we produced them and when we created them. And then what we've done since, which, you know, it'll be out in due time, but what we've done since has a different energy to it. It kind of has more upbeat life into it now that we were able to write together again and be together again and, you know, go out into the world. Whereas like you kind of hear, I personally feel the isolation that I experienced when I listened to Empath and Hubris, and it's cathartic in a way, but it's also like that catharsis is unique only to those 2 songs. So in the case of releasing those 2 songs, it made sense to do it as a single, you know. EPs are really sick too, because you can look at it from a marketing standpoint too, you know. You can look at it from like, oh, you know, I want to get like just like quick bundles of music out to the world, like you know, in different iterations, keep people interested, not necessarily drop a full album and then have to wait 2 years. Right. Or release single by single so that content just, you know, constantly keeps flowing in. But there is an expectation for bands that, you know, to put out records. Like it is what we do. And it's a genre by genre thing as well. You know, like in hip hop, singles are way more popular than full albums, or at least they were until a couple of years ago. Now albums are coming back.
Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah.
No.
I guess like you're saying, rolling with the punches, right? Seeing where it takes you.
Yeah, you kind of have to ride the wave. It keeps changing. Carlo, you're finishing it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess without giving too much, I think the idea that we pivot into since the whole lockdown and COVID and all this other crap. What we decided to do was those 2 songs that we had, because we were sitting on them and we didn't have access to a studio to do more drum tracking and further music, we decided to package them as 2 songs. However, when things started to open up again and our guitar player was pumping out, song after song and all like new stuff while we were in lockdown, and we started getting into it right away. We're like, let's get ahead of ourselves and let's see if we could plan 2022. And, that's what we did. So what we're going to try to do before the end of 2021 is kind of give you guys a preview of what's coming up in 2022. So we're ready. Nice. So without giving too much, Empath and Hubris are going to do its thing, and we're going to keep, dropping stuff that is related to that package. But before the end of the year, we will kind of want to give, the preview for next year.
Yeah, we're not done yet with everybody. We've still got
exciting stuff, guys. Well,
exactly.
Listen, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to share this with us and, expand on the music. And we can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, man.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Fayne for coming on this week's episode of Innersleeve, and make sure to go click all those links that we mentioned in the description below, whether you're watching or listening to the audio streams. I don't know about you guys, but one of the main takeaways I had from this chat was just the method that's required for the type of vocals that they're doing. And I also appreciate this because Fayne doesn't only do screaming vocals, they also do regular vocals. So I don't know if you guys noticed that it takes a lot for that balance.
Yeah, totally. And that's why you take it for granted kind of when you're hearing this, right? You're used to hearing it. But when you actually see, they've put out some performance videos where they show him, Justin, doing it in one take. I'll link in the description below on their personal channel where they have, he just rips through the song in one take, clean, screaming. And he gave us that crash course in just metal screaming. And what's cool is you think it's just, is it an effect or is it something, just screaming? But no, man, this is controlled because these guys go on tour. They got to do this in the studio over and over, rehearsals, right? So you got to protect your voice.
Yeah, it's this is like an extreme example, but when you think of the top end athletes in the world, I think they allocate a certain percentage of their yearly earnings towards taking care of their body, with the necessary foods and physios and workout specialists or whatever. I can only imagine, and with Fayne being like we said, a smaller example just on our show, the importance of and the emphasis that they lay on taking care of vocals that go through so much mileage. It was very interesting to me because honestly, guys, as a general consumer of music and not the most avid. Would we say heavy metal? What was the
metalcore? I think
metalcore listener. Yeah. I cannot attest to being a big fan of that. I never think once of the necessary steps to take care of these guys' voice. I'm sure they go to extreme lengths to pace it out, take care of it. I don't even know what type of exercises or remedies they can have for it, but it's very important because it is their job. It's their livelihood, that their vocal cords are what make them earn money. So, and when they're forcing him that much, man, it is straining.
And not only that, but if you think about it, okay, as a guitar player, you need a break too, but you can rest your hands for a day. Drummer, same thing, but a vocal, it's your whole body is that instrument, right? So if it's hurting, you're sick, you're tired, and you're on tour day in, day out, it's not always comfortable for some of these bands, they road trip it in a van, right? And it's you're trying to sleep as comfortable as you can next to your amp or, so it's definitely, you have to be in shape, and it's so interesting to hear him, how educated he is about it and how serious he is about taking care of it,
Yeah, it's not like the bass guitar and the drums are going to get sore after a night on set, right?
Yeah,
totally.
The instruments go away. Sure, the hands and feet might be sore for a drummer or a guitarist, but it's nowhere near, I think, I want to say pain, but at least the work that vocals go through. So it was
vocalists are pretty much they're pretty much the hardware and the software. You know what I mean? As an instrumentalist, it's you have that disconnect. good point, Frank. Yeah, you guys are right. This guy doesn't play around. I mean, he talks about, they couldn't get into their studio, so they broke in to get the gear or whatever at the place they owned, obviously. Brought it to somewhere else, go into a basement, record it, treat it. I mean, these guys do not play around. They're not going to be stopped. That's my feeling, that if they have their mindset to a project, it's going to get done. And yeah, just consummate professionals, and we appreciate them coming on Innersleeve. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add for episode 41?
I was just gonna say, sorry, just like about Fayne, like the videos. What did you guys think about the videos? Like, for like a metalcore band, like, is it for me, I see it as like the same quality as any other band with like a bigger budget and a label and all that kind of stuff. So I was very impressed with their videos. I like the fact that it's like not just like a performance video; it's a thought out.
And it's important
Very
that they have a great relationship with the video production company as well. They seem to really be sharing a brain almost. So it's good to see that type of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy how long it takes to put that together also. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out to Fayne, Justin, and everybody at the group, like we said. And make sure to subscribe right here on SoundMojo, of course on YouTube, and on our Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and audio platforms. If you subscribe on YouTube, make sure to click that little notification bell right next to it to give you real-time updates about everything we've been doing. We have community tab posts, polls, pretty much any way we can find out what you guys want to see in here, we're going to do it. So make sure to follow us to give that feedback, and we will provide that for you. But until episode number 42, which is going to be next week, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll catch you guys then. Thanks for tuning in to Innersleeve.